is Brenda Gonzalez. I'm a mixed media artist from East Los Angeles, California. I make sculptures primarily using domestic objects, so often domestic textiles, but also found objects, kind of relating to my idea of home, one that is kind of from a low-income upbringing and a Mexican-American background. For the past few years, I've been thinking of my sculptures as kind of like creature sculptures, so I guess I have the idea that objects have a sort of kind of liveliness to them in mind when I pick my objects, but I also approach like materials kind of visually and texturally. Do their textures kind of coincide with the textures of other materials? Like, do they have similar patterns, similar colors? And I start matching them up and kind of assembling them in a way, literally stitching them together, even if they're not textiles. So like sometimes I drill holes through objects that are like plastic, or lately ceramics. I started doing that here and kind of sewing them together with like softer materials and kind of seeing what those relationships look like, and the forms kind of develop organically, especially when they're more like freestanding sculptures. Right now I'm working on a lot of wall pieces, and so that's been kind of a challenge for me. Like, how can I still kind of get a sense of movement when they're on the wall? So that's kind of what I've been working on here at Art Share L.A. So when I first started making this work, it was like when I was doing a post-baccalaureate program at Brandeis University in like 2017, 2018, and I was like, what reminds me of home? Or I was feeling homesick because I was so far away from East Los Angeles. I was in Massachusetts, so basically I went to thrift stores. That's where I started gathering materials that seemed kind of familiar to me. And at UC Davis during my MFA program, I started doing that more, and I would take trips here, and then I was like just taking photos of things at home, and then I started using found objects at thrift stores there. I didn't really care that they were plastic, you know, they still have like a familiarity to me. And during the pandemic, I started actually bringing objects from my actual home to the work. So we were, at the beginning of the pandemic, my family and I were just at home cleaning out, like, they're like old curtains, things like that. I was like, don't throw them away, I can use them for my art. Ceramics, I think, are like the new element. So some of the things, like there's like on the table, there's like a broken cow that was like a sort of jar that was in our dining room for a long time, and then our cats broke it. And then I was like, it's like holds such sentimental value, but also it's kind of like a creature, like that sort of thing I was thinking about. So just materials with a sense of familiarity are what I look for. So Art Share has been a really great experience so far. It's been a very supportive residency. I hadn't been in a residency for a couple of years. It came at a time where I was like not sure like how to continue with my work. I was starting to work in art preparation and developing new skills, but then I'm like, I was like, how do I apply them? Or like, when will I have a chance to apply those newfound skills I've gained in like just fabrication, or even like hanging artwork to my work, which is kind of what I started doing that job for partly. So this came at a time where I was starting to feel comfortable with those skills I've gained. I was like, oh, I can now kind of apply those skills to my work. And the Art Share Residency allowed me a space where I can like see my work and like on the walls and like give it room to breathe. It's hard when you have to make work in a cramped space, as I was doing at home. It's been really great also to share a space with Johnny and Carly, and their work is also related to their ideas of home, and kind of having that dialogue has been really kind of helpful for me. Well, what I really appreciate about the location of Art Share is that it's accessible to me as someone that doesn't have a car. I can drive, but like it's so close to my home in East LA. I can get here on the bus or on the train, and having kind of that proximity really allows me to still be in dialogue with my actual home, which is what my work is really all about. It also makes it a central location for like family and friends to come see the space and see the work, and that kind of is that sort of sense of community, I think, is really important.